Que no oigo.
Okay, the bells are tolling. It's 10 o'clock. So we'll start with today's webinar. If you are familiar with the way we work, we have been organizing a series of webinars throughout this academic year. After agriculture in February and the care sector in April, today is the turn of the blue economy sector. The title of this webinar is long, as you can see, Understanding Skills, Challenges and Opportunities in Blue Economy Sectors Across European Regions. Yeah, it's a long title, but it really describes very well what this sector is about and what we need to do now and also in the future. Today's topic, the blue economy, is very relevant because just a few days ago, on Saturday, on the 8th of June, it was UNESCO's World Oceans Day. So the ocean has a day in the year, an international day, so that we can see it's an important issue, and also it is also relevant as well because of all the problems associated to the sea and the oceans, like resources, pollution, the climate change, for example. The European Commission describes blue economy as all economic activities related to oceans, seas, and coasts. Therefore, after this definition, we can see that blue economy covers a lot of sectors, jobs, and careers. For example, fisheries, tourism, sea transport, shipbuilding, etc. So in this webinar, can we have the next slide, please, Alicia? Yeah, here you can see the agenda for today. So as usual, the structure is like in the other webinars. First, we're going to have like a general presentation by a European expert. And then after that, we're going to go into different regional examples, as usual, from our region members. So we're going to start with Mr. Arturo Incerti. He, after obviously his professional career is very, very extensive. As you can see, when you receive this presentation, you can read it in detail. But we can say that he, at the moment, after having a lot of jobs and positions, at the moment he's working at the European Commission's Directorate General for Maritime Affairs and Fisheries. So as you can see from his profile, he's a very well prepared person to talk about blue economy. So I'm sure he's going to give us some really good insight on this sector and all the problems associated to it and all the challenges, of course. So Arturo, buongiorno. Thank you for joining us today, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Oscar. Muchas gracias. Thank you all, and first of all, thank you for inviting me to this webinar. And as mentioned, I will introduce you some of the EU initiatives supporting the development of blue skills. Now I'll try to share my screen, and please tell me if you're seeing it and everything is okay.
Yeah, everything's fine. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So basically, yeah, as Oscar mentioned, right now I'm a naval officer, Italian Navy officer, and a Coast Guard officer, and right now I'm seconded to the Director General of Fishery and Maritime Affairs, in particular dealing with blue skills and ocean literacy, and that's why what I will discuss also with you today. And together with my colleague, as some of you may know, who is Sandra Castagner. She's my teammate, let's say, on these files. So today I would like to stress the two, because ocean literacy and blue skills are intrinsically linked, related, and they're both equally necessary for a sustainable blue growth, and also the jobs, which is also one of the aim of today's speech, let's say. So what do I mean by that? But this link. So we can all agree that the interest in, the understanding, and the knowledge about the ocean, and also know this is the definition of ocean literacy, are both essential to make careers in the blue economy more attractive, which in turn results in a larger, better equipped blue workforce, which again in turn contributes to the development of a sustainable blue economy, which is the aim of us all. So, and what is the EU doing to raise the awareness about the ocean, to support training and reskilling of workers? How are we addressing the current and future challenges of the blue workforce? So today I will provide you an overview of the ongoing initiatives, as mentioned, like supporting the skills in the blue economy, and all of them with the ultimate objective of filling the current skills gap. That's the problem. We all know it's there. Please, it's just a disclaimer, but be aware, always be aware, as we are here at the Commission, that bear in mind that the educational and vocational training of the youth are all, also the curriculum and the universities, for example, at school in general, are only on the national policy area. So it's the member states are the only one responsible for that. We at the EU level can only harmonize. We can foster cooperation, we can foster addressing the problems, but it's not possible for us to go into the member states and let's say put some activities in their curricula, in their vocational and training activities. Okay, so just to be clear, let's say, about this. So moving on, as some of you may have noticed, in last May it ended the European Year of the Skills. Even though it's finished, I would like to stress that Europe and the European Commission had highlighted a lot of the past year the skills in general, and of course also the blue skills. The European Year of Skills started the 9th of May 2023 at the Europe's Day, actually, and ran until last 8th of May, where we here in Brussels we had a wonderful day for the Europe's Day once again. And this has proved this year has proved mainly a communication and visibility action at the EU level, with thousands of activities and events being organized to showcase and boost skills development opportunities, create discussions between skills providers, companies, and institutions, and also give lifelong learning and training in general fresh impetus. So that's our aim. So because there's so much need of that. And so going more in depth and something more practical, maybe you'll be interested. One thing before going in depth in the MFAF funds opportunity, I would like to inform you that very soon will be launched a study on blue skills, actually dealt with from my unit here at DG Mare, and the aim is to analyze the current and expected short, mid, and long-term skill needs in all sectors of the blue economy, of course, and map the existing academic and training offer and identify the consequent gaps. So that's the aim. It will be a study. It will run for more than 1 year, and we hopefully have after this study a better and more aware vision of what is the current situation and what will be the future possibilities. So it will also take stock of previous blue skills initiatives funded by the EU. I will mention some of them, and the aim is to gather, once again, valuable skills intelligence. So be more aware and have more knowledge about that, and help inform a better policy response at the EU level. So that's our objective at our level, let's say. So now let's zoom a little bit. I know also time is clock is ticking. So to zoom into the blue economy in particular and the European Commission, with what we do, and regularly we provide funding to to projects aiming to improve skills. So for do that, we mainly had 3 funds. The first one, the jewel of the crown, as we also always mention it, is for our Blue Career calls. They are funded under the EMFAF, which is European Maritime, Fishery and Aquaculture Fund. We have launched 3 waves of calls since 2016, plus an additional one only focused on the Mediterranean Sea. And we funded a total of 26 Blue Skills projects with a total budget of, as you can see from the slide, 18.4 million euro, and the participation from over 20 countries. In fact, 8 new projects just kicked off the end of September last year. 9 months have passed, and for the next 3 years, they will aim to contribute to the development of the next generation of blue skills. And the same fund, EMFAF, is also, as you can see at the end of the slide, supporting a foresight study on trends and opportunity for the fishing sector in particular. Also 2 projects empowering women for a more gender balanced blue economy, which is one of other things we have also to bear in mind. And in addition to our direct calls, I would like to mention that relevant provisions of the EMFAF regulations allow for supporting professional training, lifelong learning, acquisition of new professional skills, networking, etc. And it is up to each member state to decide and set up. Okay, so EMFAF is once again the first of our possibilities. The second one, okay, no, wait a second, sorry, okay, this is just one of the examples I can show you about the projects, the 8th EMFAF project we have financed. And moving forward, we will go into the Horizon Europe, which is the flagship EU mission, restore our ocean and waters by 2030. And also this one is supporting projects on citizen science, skills, and youth engagement with Horizon Europe funds. For example, 3 projects will be developing students and school activities for promotion of education on blue sustainability and the protection of marine and freshwater ecosystems in the next 3 years. Lastly, we have Erasmus+. Under Erasmus Plus program, the Commission also addresses skills mismatches by helping create alliances, for example, for sectoral cooperation. One of the very first alliances was launched in 2018, was on maritime technology and implemented by the I would pronounce it as an Italian MATES, but probably it's MATES project, so MATES. This was a very successful alliance, not only developed the skills. It not only developed a skills strategy and long-term action plan for the shipbuilding and offshore renewable energy sectors, and that's everything is available on their website, and I encourage you to visit it. But also, and that's related to the Pact for Skills, even after the end of the project, it contributed to the setting of a large-scale partnership for offshore renewable energy under the Pact of Skills. And just to spend a few words about the Pact of Skills for Skills. Pact for Skills is another key action of the European Skills Agenda, and it aims to support public and private organizations, notably small and medium enterprises who, as we know, struggle with access to skills. And they support these organizations with upskilling and reskilling possibilities. One of the ways to implement the pact is through these large-scale European partnerships, fostering synergies between academia, industries, local communities, public authorities, of course. So all stakeholders are encouraged to pool expertise, funding, and resources, for example, training facilities within the value chain, towards concrete skills action with a clear commitment that will allow people to keep, change, or find new jobs, for example. And now let me, maybe wrong presentation, but I would like, before talking about the last point about the Youth Ocean Coalition, I would also like to mention 2 other initiatives you should be aware of, and please also find them on the internet. Also, please I would like to stress, follow us, not us before on Instagram, but instead on the Maritime Forum, which is Maritime Forum is the site, the website of the DG Mare, in which we promote every possibilities you have also related to skill, and also all the funding possibilities will be always promoted on the Maritime Forum website. So I was mentioning two other initiatives. The first one is the Centers of Vocational Excellence, which is they are under the remit of DG EMPL, which is the Directorate General for Employment. This initiative on Centers of Vocational Excellence, which is COVE is the acronym, refers to a bottom-up approach to excellence, where institutions for vocational education and training get together to provide high-quality vocational skills to young people and adults, and it aims to foster transnational collaborative platforms, which will be difficult for isolated member states to establish in absence of EU incentives, technical support, and mutual learning possible opportunities. Just think that in the period 2019-2022, 38 centers of vocational excellence projects have received funding through the Erasmus Plus program I mentioned before. So again, keep an eye out. So always monitor again our website and our links to find out new possibilities. Just to mention that the last one just was closed on the 7th of May. The second other initiative I would like just to mention, because I know that I'm running out of time, is that the European Net Zero Industry Academies. So this one was proposed in the Net Zero Industry Act under the remit of DG GROW this time, so which is the DG, so the Director General in the Commission, which deals with the growth, of course, of the European economy, that will support skilling of the clean tech transition. So the idea is to set up academies, each focusing on one net zero industry technology, and develop learning programs, content, materials for the voluntary use by the member states and also interested education and training providers. So the academies, in this case, will also develop learning credentials to facilitate transparency of skills, transferability between jobs, and mobility of learners, which is a thing that we always have to remind ourselves. So the academies may take different forms, and they will not be set up in each member state, for example, but offer learning content, education, and training providers in the member states. So to do so, the Commission offers seats, funding for the academies from existing fund. And the aim is for each academy to train 10,000 learners each within 3 years of the establishment. So for now, the European Battery Academy was created under the framework of the European Battery Alliance, which is the EBA, which is managed by EIT Energy. Once again, I will ask, of course, to upload the correct presentation, because now I'm not showing the correct slide, so maybe you could get a bit lost with the acronyms and the names. So that's just for you to be aware of. So please, once we finish the webinar, go through my presentation, and you will find all the information about it. And my last point, since I mentioned the ocean literacy at the very beginning, so the link I stressed at the start of my presentation between ocean literacy and blue skills, our European Ocean Coalition for Ocean Literacy also contributes directly and indirectly to skills development on the ground. This coalition was launched in 2020, so 4 years ago. We celebrated a few days ago our anniversary, let's say. And this bottom-up initiative has become our best tool to improve the public's knowledge about our ocean and waters at a European level, to create an ocean literate empowered society. Also, Oscar before mentioned the UNESCO event last weekend. I joined UNESCO at the very first Ocean Literacy World Conference hosted in Venice on Friday and Saturday, because we know all around the world of the importance of the knowledge, understanding, awareness, and of the ocean, and how to exploit it in a sustainable way. So coming back very rapidly on the EU for Ocean Coalition. So we have is divided in 3 communities. The first one is the EU for Ocean platform, and it's the focal point for the organizations, initiatives, and people to connect, collaborate, mobilize efforts on ocean literacy. And it simulates cooperation, exchange of practices and dialogue, which in turn lead to new ocean literacy partnership and innovative activities. The second one, the Youth for Ocean Forum, encourages the youth, so between people mainly between 16 and 30 years old, to take an active role in the conservation and sustainable use of the ocean. And also we have calls to recruit what are called the young ocean advocates. We have today more than 218 young ocean advocates, and those and provide them with the tools for mentorship, for example, and develop their projects. So that's always the idea. Lastly, we have the network of European Blue Schools, which engages with students and teachers, including from technical or vocational schools, and empowers them to bring ocean-related issues into the education system. So the problem I mentioned at the very beginning of my presentation. So via curricula or extracurricular activities. So since 2022, we have a collaboration agreement also with IOC and ESCO. And on the slide, you can see the numbers we have, and up to date, we have more than 1,000. Those data are not updated. I'm sorry. Once again, in the correct presentation, you'll have the updated one. And we have more than 1,000 members of all the 3 communities right now, with more than 500 schools, for example, both from Europe and also neighboring countries. And last thing we have as I was saying, collaboration agreement with IOC UNESCO to help us strengthen our work on ocean literacy in Europe and beyond. And that was also this type of thing. So this type of effort is what there was one is the one I was invited to present last Friday again at the Ocean Literacy World Conference hosted in Venice. The very last point, and then I will thank you for your attention and hope not to have lasted too long. As you may know, on last March, we in European Commission and DG Mare, we created the European Ocean Days, 5 days only related to the all ocean aspects, from investment to ocean literacy to blue skills to the mission Ocean Restore Ocean, to the mission Restore Ocean and Waters. And I can already invite you. Next March we'll have the same activity. So next March, first week of March, we'll have the 2nd edition of the European Ocean Days. I think my time is finished. I always thank you. I will thank you very much once again for the attention. I hope not to give too many information. Please go on the Maritime Forum website, so the website of the DG Mare, and please have a proper look to my presentation. I will share with Alicia and with you all with the correct data. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Arturo. Thank you for all this valuable information, and happy 4th anniversary to your organization. Actually, you mentioned some topics that we have discussed among ourselves in the past. Like, for example, you mentioned Centers of Vocational Excellence, the Pact for Skills, European Year of Skills, and also the gender gap that there is also in blue careers. In fact, we discussed about the same, but in green careers. So yeah, that was very nice to see all these contact points between our previous discussions and your presentation. I don't know if anyone in the audience would like to ask something to Arturo, or in the chat, if there's a question on the chat, maybe. Sorry, any questions? No question, Alicia?
Yeah, maybe I can ask, as you run this study on the needs of the blue economy, I know that you are going to release soon, but maybe could you just give us some highlights from the study, like, I don't know, what are the main challenges that you find, or the main opportunities, or how it's evolving a bit, if you can give us a hint? if you can. Thank you.
So, of course, as you know, Alicia, I cannot disclose some of the information related. What I can say, that is just only to prepare the study. We needed almost half a year, because many things, every time we started talking with our colleagues, not only in DG Mare, but also in DG Employment, every time we have a discussion, something new came. And of course, it's a first study. That's so the great thing is the very first study, so it will be a milestone on this point. It's a very broad initiative, because as you know, as I mentioned, it will deal with all, apart from fishery, which we already have another study ongoing. It will deal with it will touch all the aspects, okay, all the of the blue economy. So it will be very broad. Because of that, it could not, of course, we cannot pretend to be extremely specific on each single topic, on each single let's say aspect of the blue economy. However, the aim is to make a very first step to identify what are the macro problems. So what are the main skill gaps, again, in talking about different of age, so the youth problem, and also gender problem. So those are two main topics we have, and also like reskilling is one of the other thing that we will stress in this study, because we have to be aware on the European level, because every single member state has its own study possibilities, and we do not have currently a framework to understand each member state how he's going on, in how he's moving, and how he's addressing those gaps. And so the very first step will be, first of all, to have a framework. Once we have that, and we have a general overview, the aim of the European Commission, like my file, my team, and my unit, will be to start addressing properly each one of those problems. So that's actually what can I say. I hope to have answered at least a bit to your question.
Thank you, Arturo. I'm sure that when the study will be released, we can organize maybe a short presentation. As you know, this is organized in ERLAL, the European Association of Lifelong Learning and Regional Authorities, and we have our working group. So I'm sure that we can organize something to present this to our members.
The aim will be to spread the word of our result, of course. Please consider that once launched, it will be at least 1 year, okay, to do this study. So we'll talk, of course, of the end of 2025 mainly, but of course our aim is to public speaking about that, and to share our results with you, also to address and help you to help us addressing this problem and find new solutions.
Great, thank you. Any other questions for Arturo? No? Well, in that case, Arturo, thanks a lot for joining us. It was a pleasure having you and listening to you, and hopefully we can meet again in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you very much once again for having me.
Okay. Arrivederci. Right. So the second part of this webinar, as we said at the beginning, is maybe shorter presentations by different regional examples that will give us an idea of what the situation is like in these countries. So as you can see, all these regions have coastline, so they'll know. They'll give us a good idea of what is happening in those places. So the first one is Simon Geldof. Simon is a nautical teacher. Is a teacher of nautical techniques at the Go Maritime Institute in Ostende, which is in the Flanders regions. So he has a first-hand contact with students and also with companies, and obviously he has a good insight of what the situation is like and what the needs and the challenges are in his area. So we say goedemorgen to Simon. Thank you for being here today, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Oscar. So, hello, everybody. My name is Simon Heldhoff. I'm, as Oscar said, teacher in the Maritime Institute here in Ostend. Just to have a broad idea, what is the Flanders region? Flanders is a part of Belgium. We are very small. There's no screen about that. But we have two schools in Belgium who are taking care of the blue skills on the level of 12 to 25-year-olds. And then we have in Flanders one more university who is teaching from 18 until whatever age they want to enlist. And for the persons who decide that they want to have a career switch or something, we have like the VDAB. It's a service from Flanders allowing people to have skills or a switch of careers, which is supported by our government, mainly if the persons are unemployed or stuff like that. So I am from the school who are teaching the youngsters, 12 to 25 years old. One school is in Ostend, where I am working. The other is in Antwerp. In Antwerp, the focus is on inland navigation, and we have the focus next to the merchant navy on fishery. So I will be talking about that. So you can give the next slide. And the next one already. So Maritime Institute, we do the combination of the merchant navy and the fishery, like I said, 12 to 25 years old. And we are the only one in Belgium who are educating these youngsters in the art of fishery. We made a small study, Alicia, so we can have a next slide. We did a small lookup at the reports from FEBIMA, which is the federal government institute doing the investigations when there is a maritime accident. And we found out that about 43% of all the reports which are uploaded there involve the fishing vessels. So the safety on board our fishing vessels is a main topic for us because we are the only school. We see that it's quite necessary for us to engage our youngsters and to improve their ability to understand that safety is quite a big deal for them. If we have a closer look at the reports only on the next slide with regard to these fishing vessels, we see that it's mainly the topics on navigation, which arise, which lead to the loss of ships and collisions with other ships. So we here in our school, we are aiming to have a view at as well as improving their navigational skills, as well as their attitude to having better safety skills. If we have a look at the next slide, we have a small fleet. I think if we will compare to the Spanish regions and the Norwegian regions, we are only about 60 fishing vessels. We are coming from 100, but the sustainability, the quota, we have a very small coastline. It's only 70 kilometers. So our fishing vessels, they go to Ireland, so our youngsters, they are spread around the European coast. Next slide, Alicia. Okay, so there are some incentives programs next to our school. We are having a close cooperation with some organizations like Previs and Ovis. They are promoting health and safety on board the fishing vessels. If you look at the merchant navy, it's quite a big promotion from the IMO, but it's always looking like the fishing industry is just not caught by the net, which is launched by IMO, but the Belgian industry is investing a lot in improving the safety on board these ships. So there is already a big turn. The industry sees that currently the fleet is quite an old fleet. So we are also investing in newer ships. I think the newest one was launched 1 year or 2 years ago. So it's the fleet is renewing, which induces by itself that the safety features on board are better, but the youngsters need to learn to work with that, and that's why we are coming in hand. If you can give me the next slide. Why did I choose to talk about this? We have a case very close to our hearts. Just December 2023, we lost a young man who just finished school because of a safety-related accident. So it's really our core business, not only because we are a school, but we are a family here. And we lost one of our members, so we made it our point to make it even more necessary. Okay. So our actions at school, we are qualified to educate as well as STCW for the merchant navy, as well as the STCW-F for the fishing vessels. We do practical training on vetted companies. Last week, all these, we call them the rederijen, the companies, they came here to have education. So we are both training the youngsters as well as the persons who are training them on board in the practical stuff. Currently, we are proceeding forward for buying a new simulator to enhance the navigational skills, as well as GMDSS training, which is obligatory to have good ready communication skills. We will also invest in having a new GMDSS training. So if there are people who want to fund, we are always happy to receive some money. The STCWF asks us to give basic training, which insists on firefighting, the first aid, and personal survival training. At our school, we aim to have more than that. We are training them in the advanced firefighting, and the medical first care, which is all one level higher, because we feel that is necessary to have really the management skills to cope with all these events, because if you have a stress situation, you're only trained in the basics, the chance of forgetting something is bigger. And the last thing before we go to the next slide, we are also training in the use of new technologies. So we are using VR. We have here close to our Blue Reef, which is from the University of Ghent, in cooperation with some private investors, where they can really train all the safety stuff. If they do something wrong, it really doesn't matter. We can do it again, but if they do it on board, and then we really have saved their lives. So I think it's the last slide, and then I will leave it to you. We have very close relations with our industry because we are only a very small group, coastline, so we can really talk with them, and they fund us, they give us ideas on how we can change or practical stuff or theoretical stuff. And I will leave you with this. If there are any questions later, I think Oscar will lead you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know if it's Simon or Simon, sorry.
Simon.
Simon. Okay, sorry, we've been calling you like in the English way. Okay, Simon, thank you very much for your presentation. I don't know if there are any questions. If there aren't, I've got one for you. Shall I? Yeah. Okay. So, what is the profile of your students? I mean, is it like, do they come from a family tradition of fishermen and fishmongers, or they just want to go into that sector because they find it attractive or whatever?
We have a very mixed profile. I think from if we look at the total of our students, we're about 130. From that, 35 really go for the fishery. The other ones get their certificates for the fishery, but they are mainly for the merchant navy. And from the fishery branch, I think about 80% are really from the families. And there's some side guys coming in. If I'm thinking right, in the fishery branch currently, because Arturo was talking about the women in blue economy, in fishery we only have boys at the moment. But if we look at the complete school, about 10% is women. So there is really this gender gap still, which I forgot the name from this European Commission, but we really feel because I'm now working here for the 4th year. The first year I worked, we were with 3 girls. So there was one initiative, I think it was Olivia, and after this Olivia we really had like a boom of having more women, and I believe next year we already have some inscriptions that it's even lifting up.
So you're managing to break the gender gap a little bit, yeah?
We try to.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, Simon, thank you very much. I don't know if there are any other questions in the audience or on the chat. No. Well, in that case, we'll go on to the next speaker. Asunción Moran. Okay, Asunción Moran is also a teacher, so it will be interesting to compare what she has to say to what Simon has already said, because they're both teachers. They're both teachers. In the case of Asunción, she's a teacher at the Instituto del Mar in Asturias, which is in the north of Spain. Very beautiful part of Spain. Actually, I was in Oviedo just last week, and I really enjoyed that. So, Asunción, buenos días. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the invitation. It's a pleasure for us to participate in this webinar. Buenos días, good morning. My name is Asunción Moran. I'm a biologist, and nowadays I work as a fisheries teacher in the CIP del Mar. It is in the center in Gijón, in the region of Asturias. We are in the north of Spain. Although Asturias is a small region, the blue economy sector is very present and has a lot of relevance from an economic point of view. It includes various sectors, including port activities. In Asturias, there are 2 ports of general interest and several regional ports. Shipbuilding and repair, with leading companies in the construction of state-of-the-art ships. Maritime transport and related activities, coastal tourism and fishing, with flights mostly from the coast. Finally, and where our center is focused, education and training. We think that it's an essential part which provides qualified professionals to the sector and enables them to work internationally. As we can see in the second slide, thanks Alicia, in economic terms, the blue economy sector accounts for 13% of GDP and 14% of jobs distributed. As shown on the screen. 2.5% port activities, 1.1% in fisheries and aquaculture, and 65.5% in coastal tourism. Finally, I wanted to highlight a significant fact in the sector, which is the distribution of men and women. As it can be seen in the graph, this is a mostly male sector. This is a fact that is also reflected in our school, being women a minority of the total students. In the next slide, you can see that the sector includes companies of various kinds, many of which are developing innovation and competitiveness improvement projects. In the following graphs, we can see the number of projects that are being carried out, highlighting that 23.8% are developing more than 3 projects. In addition, it should be noted that many of these projects are developed jointly with other companies, specifically 66.7%. It's therefore a business network that is trying to cooperate and innovate in relation to the blue economy. Focusing on education, which is what concerns our center, I would like to comment that despite being a small region, we have 3 training centers in the maritime and port fields. The University of Oviedo, where merchant marine degrees are developed, the Jovellano Security Center, where lifelong training is given to professionals in the sector, and our center, the CIP del Mar, which is a vocational training center. In the next slide, please, you can see the training offer of our center. On the one hand, initial vocational education training, intermediate level, level 4, and higher level, level 5, both lasting 2 years. Both prepare students to work on board merchant ships, fishing vessels, and to work on recreational boats. At the end of their studies, students will be able to work in the bridge department or in the engine department of a ship at an international level, since we comply with the standards of training, certification, and watchkeeping, and STCW fishing. Other professional opportunities for our students are related to work in ports, in fishermen's markets, or for the Spanish administration, such as customs surveillance. The center also offers its students and teachers the possibility of carrying out Erasmus mobility. Recently, the teaching staff of our center has carried out Erasmus mobilities to exchange experiences and methodologies with training centers in Lisbon. In addition, we also offer training courses for employment, all of them within the maritime fishing sector. They are focused on helping interested people join the labor sector and professionals to renew their professional accreditation, get up to date with their knowledge, or even carry out training in order to increase their attributions and be able to promote in their work. Some examples of courses that we have recently taught are port stowage, maintenance on recreational boats, or aquaculture. Finally, we also carry out processes for accreditation of competencies through non-formal training. People who accredit a series of non-formal training or professional experience in the sector can certify their skills by undergoing a process of evaluation of this. In the next slide, within this training framework, the center has a series of opportunities, such as it is a sector with a high demand for well-trained professionals who meet international standards. So it is very attractive training for people who want to join the labor market. In addition, we have recently received the appointment as a National Center of Excellence in the specialty of navigation and marine installations. This is an unbeatable opportunity for us for the application of new technologies in teaching and the digitalization of our center. At the same time, we are facing a series of challenges, such as the lack of generational renewal in fishing. The fishing sector in our region has a pressing need for qualified professionals who can exercise command of fishing vessels. Therefore, it is a challenge for the CIP del Mar to supply the sector with enough professionals. Likewise, another challenge is the implementation of dual vocational training due to the new regulations in our country. From the next academic year, the training of our students will be more linked, if possible, to the labor sector, since part of the training will be carried out in companies in the sector. The adaptation of education to new regulatory framework is a challenge for us. Finally, one of the biggest challenges that we would like our center to be part of is to be part of the European network of vocational centers of excellence in our specialty. We would like to grow in this sense and be able to internationalize, given the international nature of our training and how enriching it can be for our students to be trained in a center with the latest technologies in training and forming a network with other centers of the same specialty in Europe. To conclude my presentation, I would like to introduce the projects in which we are immersed within the framework of the Center of Excellence. All of them are focused on improving the efficiency of the maritime fishing port sector. On the one hand, we are carrying out a digital transformation of the center, improving the simulator we have and including new immersive simulators that help carry out much more real training without subjecting a student to the risks of working in a company. In addition, we are carrying out a network of simulators at a national level to carry out joint exercises with other centers of the same specialty. We believe that collaboration with other schools in Spain can be very enriching for both students and teachers. We are also organizing the production of a report that shows the needs of the sector so that training centers can provide a response adapted to the reality of the companies. Likewise, together with our action plan within the framework of the Center of Excellence, it is the development of research and innovation projects applied to topics such as renewable energies, the optimization of navigation routes, or the use of AI deep learning techniques for data management in search of the efficiency and sustainability of fishing activity. Well, that's all. Thank you very much for your kind attention. I hope it has been of interest to you.
Thank you very much, Asunción. Gracias. Anyone in the audience would like to ask anything to Asunción? You're very quiet today, no questions.
Yeah. I have
yes,
a
yeah. Oh,
question.
sorry. Yes, Alicia. Yes, very good. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, Asunción, you mentioned that you are producing a report, and maybe that report can be of use for the Commission as well for feeding the information. So can you tell us a bit more about the report, what is going to include?
We are starting with this because nowadays we are starting with a lot of projects, and one of these projects is this report. The aim of this report is to make an studio of the sector, of fishing sector, port sector, and the teachers can use this information to relate the reality in the industry to their classes. And it's the main aim of the project.
Okay, Camila from Sweden has a question for you, Asunción.
Yes, thank you for a very interesting presentation. You talked about validation of non-formal and informal learning. How does it work in practice?
Yes, one of the offer of our centers is the processes of accreditation of competencies. People who don't have formal training or who has professional experience in the sector, in our sector, can certify their skills. They have to undergo a process or evaluation of this non-formal training of the experiences in the sector. We are now carrying out this process of competencies.
Thank you.
It's okay.
Sorry, I was mute. Yeah, any other questions I was saying? Yeah, no? Okay, well, thank you very much again, Asunción. Thank you for being here. And we go on to our next speaker. In this case, we go back to the north of Europe, to Norway. And the next speaker is Barbara Hartering. She is a senior advisor at the Vestland County Council. So yeah, it will be interesting also to know how things are getting on in the north of Europe. So Barbara, good morning. Sorry about my pronunciation in Norway. And yeah, we're ready to listen to you. Thank you.
I hope you can see my presentation now.
Yes.
Very good, very good. God morgen, good morning from Bergen, Norway. My name is Barbara Hartrink and I am an international officer, as Oscar said, and I'm working with EU collaboration projects. So in daily life, I'm not working with the blue sector specifically, but it is a very important sector for us, and many activities are happening. At this moment, we have a lot of exams in our schools, and it is a very busy time of the year. So I'm taking the presentation now, and I learn also from it at the same time. Westland is the region I'm trying to. It doesn't want to move now.
Maybe stop sharing and sharing.
I think I have to try to do this again.
Yeah.
Because it is not moving. So I think I'm probably I'm taking another version of it, and we'll see if that is better. So I try. No, this one I didn't want. Sorry for this. I think I need the other one, which is this. Yes. So now I need to find the shares. Yeah, there it is. We try this now. Can you see it now?
Yes, we can see it.
And then I hope I can change it. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, perfect then.
Okay.
Thank you, Barbara.
Then we can start. Westland is on the west coast of Norway. We have around 650,000 inhabitants. And this is then Bergen is the second city of our country, Norway, and the gateway to magnificent fjords and glaciers. We are, as you can hear, very much depending on our seas, and we organize every year one ocean week in the month of April. You're welcome to visit Bergen in the first week next year again. On this week, we want to promote and to strengthen sustainable use of ocean resources. The blue sector is very important part of our income, and my organization is in charge of providing the blue skills on both secondary and higher vocational level. In this presentation, I will start with some facts and figures and how our schools collaborate with the business and research sector. And I will tell you about the challenges and opportunities in the blue sector, especially aquaculture and fisheries. We also have another huge sector of coastal tourism, for example, but just to not exceed my time of 10 minutes, I chose not to talk about that. My organization is responsible for the division of aquaculture quotes. So therefore, I will devote more time on especially that sector. So as you can see here, Westland is the region in Norway with the highest number of employees in aquaculture, fish farming. And speaking about the gender gap, as you can see here, around a third of the employees is women. So 1 out of 3. And I think that is not so bad if you compare it with many other regions, but still there is a gap. This table shows the export of Norwegian seafood. And last year, Norway exported 1.3 million tons of seafood. The value of these exports is around 11 billion euros. And the volume of seafood exports fell last year with 1%, but still the export income increased with 16%. So for just last year, so it is a huge amount of income for us. We have 6 secondary vocational schools, as you can see, which offer different subjects within the blue sector, from natural resources to aquaculture, fisheries, and maritime subjects. And we have the higher vet school level too. Westland County Council is in charge of all these schools, and we see that it is an important prerequisite that the school, with their theoretic studies, are in direct contact with the business sector. So, theory and practice. As you can see, here is one of our schools, which is located in one of our island municipalities. And this school is nearby a marine research institute. So when a research station has a project that needs many hands, then they ask the school for help, and the students, they work together with the scientists. Very good theory and practice. I just put also in a drone picture here, and on top of the picture you can see the research institute, and in the middle of the picture there's the school. So it's very close by, and they work closely together. Our schools may also apply for a teaching license in aquaculture. They apply to be able to have a fish farm. And so they cooperate with commercial actors in the salmon and trout production. So they write contracts together, and this is of a very this is an advantage for the commercial actors to collaborate to write such contracts, and it is also a big advantage for the school, because the students have now access to modern equipment and facilities, and the school even gains from it economically. 2 million Norwegian kroner, which is about 180,000 euros each year, they get from the business sector for the production quote, that the business can use this quote. And the surplus, if there is a surplus, then there is a contract on a division of 70% goes to the school and 30% to the business sector. And it must be spent on the blue skills development, which is, I think, quite unique, this model, that the surplus of this production goes directly to blue skills development. As you can see in this picture, you can see the PlayStation generation. A young person with a lot of screens, but this is actually how it works with fish farming in practice. So there are cameras and sensors, and they are directly connected to several fish farms. And the person sitting in the control room has to follow up on what the data says, And the skills that are needed is both technology skills, operational skills. You need a certain amount of biology skills and knowledge, and also data, so that you know what is happening when the data, what the data says on the screens. And this is quite popular actually among young people. I think this is a awesome job, and it's quite popular. The salary is also good here. Some challenges. Unfortunately, there are some challenges regarding the fish health. There are lysis on the salmon. It's on the skin of the fish. And there's also it's called a Apolemia uvaria. I don't know what the English name for it is, but it is the second picture. It shows that there is a colony of different individual animals, which is a sort of jellyfish, and it burns the skin and kills the fish. So this is a problem, and we are trying to try to find solutions. I will come into that, but we see a lot of opportunities still in fish farming and aquaculture, as it is healthy food. It's good for people. Fish, to eat fish, maybe less meat and more fish. And the fish farms, we try to get them more sustainable. Both more healthy fish, but also less pollution in the seas. And we have more and more focus on circularity. I will also tell a little bit about the production of kelp. You can see it, what kelp is in English. Maybe not everybody knows the word, but this is the seaweed or kelp. So just quickly into some methods for delysing to get rid of the lysis on the skin of the fishes. We use well boats with fresh water to get fresh water into the fish farms. And there's also, this is an invention it's a Norwegian invention to use a laser that can shoot the lice and kill the lice. We also use this kind of fish, the bergylta, which eats the lysis. And a fourth method is using this kind of cages, which can go deeper in the sea. And there the lysis don't like to be. So this is also a very a good way of getting rid of the lysis. As you can see, we experiment a lot with delysing because this is a huge problem, and it is if we can tackle these problems, this will give us so many opportunities. We are also experimenting on land-based aquaculture, but there are advantages and disadvantages here. And we are also looking into more circularity, that the feces and feeding leftovers, that they are collected and pumped up, and they can be used for biogas production or for agriculture. So these are very good methods for a sustainable future. Then about the kelps, there's a production of different kinds of kelps as a growing industry in Norway. Kelps need nutrients, sun, and CO2 for growing. And in theory, the kelps can use dissolved nutrient from salmon plants, which is also circularity again. The kelps can, just have to yes. It's it is a very prosperous industries, a growing industry in Norway, and we see that this can be part of a sustainable production line. So last but not least, the fisheries. Depending on the number of classes, the blue schools assign a quota for fishing commercial species such as cod, mackerel, and herring. Our schools got almost 600 tons in total for this year. Some of the fisheries are done by commercial boats, where the students are able to onboarding and learn in practice how this works. Several schools cooperate with commercial boats on fishing in Lofoten in the northern part of Norway. And there the pupils learn how to run the vessel, to take shifts, to make food, to learn in practice. So they even can experience the northern lights in the northern part of Norway. This is a real adventure for about 50 to 60 students every year. So this was, in short, my presentation. I can speak much more, but I think this is good for now. So if there are any questions, please come up with them. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Barbara. Personally, I found it very interesting, and some of the pictures you showed on your presentation made me think of your recent Nobel Prize for Literature, John Fosse. I read, one of his big books, and I really enjoyed it. And obviously, the landscapes in his books were the same landscapes that you showed in your presentation. So, yeah, that was
yes, good. You are right, Oscar. Jon Fosse is from our region.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, have we got any questions for Barbara?
Yes, I am Karen from Barcelona Activa.
Hello.
Hi, I am with the camera, sorry. Hi, Barbara. I have a question for you. Thanks a lot for your presentation. My question is, do you have problem finding workers, qualified workers in this sector?
If we have problems to get workers?
Yes, to work in this sector.
Yes, there are, especially in the fisheries, I think, in the production lines. But as we can see now, especially in the aquaculture, it is a popular study, as the salaries are good, but also in fisheries. So we get a lot of workers also from abroad to help us with this work. Yeah. So it seems that the industries are finding the people, and I think it is especially because the salaries are that good that lots of people want actually to work here.
Mm-hmm. And you have a lot another training courses, for example, for unemployed young people, adult people, or only for regulated from training?
Only, sorry, the last.
Yes, if you have problems for finding workers, do you in your region have trainings, specialty trainings for this type of gaps?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you.
Yes, there are quite a lot of students who already choose to be in this sector. Mm-hmm. And I have been speaking to my colleagues working at the career advising, and they also tell me that and there are not that many other people within adult education or like immigrants, for example, within this sector, because you need quite high technology skills at the moment to enter this sector, especially the aquaculture, as you saw. So it is quite rather high skills that are needed in this sector. So it is not a typical business that you can quickly get a reskilling. So, but I hear that especially within the fisheries production lines, but that is more basic kind of work.
Thank you.
Okay, Barbara, you have a petition on the chat, but first, Simon has... No? Oh, okay. The hand has disappeared. Okay, so then we can concentrate on this petition on the chat. I don't know if you can see it. It's Maria Jose Portales from Valencia, which is further south from Catalonia, also on the coast. She would like some information about coastal tourism.
Yes.
So if you could maybe later on or tomorrow, whenever, send them some information. So yeah, Maria Jose, yes, Barbara will kindly send some information on the topic you're asking for.
Yes, we have. This is a big sector for us, and we are now especially looking into how to spread the tourist more. And I think that is something that more coastal areas like Barcelona or that you are into, because we see, for example, a very beautiful region like Lofoten, which I showed you a picture of. There are so many visitors each year that it is a difficulty, getting more and more difficult for the region to be the clean and gorgeous area that it should be. So we are working hard on managing tourism in a better way. So if you are interested in more in that, I can share that. So please be in contact with me, and I can have a dialogue.
That would be nice to have some information about these things, because we, in our region, in Valencia land, we are living on this tourism as much as possible with some skills, but not on this coastal concrete skills for tourism. So maybe it would be a nice example for us to know about it. Okay, so I don't know how I can contact afterwards. Maybe Oscar can give me, or Alicia could give me the contact. Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Maria.
Yes, thank you. Well, just very quickly before going on to our last speakers, just because you were talking about how to, coastal tourism in the south of Catalonia, there's this big tuna fish farm where you can swim you can do some scuba diving among these massive tuna fish, and then you can eat some grilled tuna fish, which sounds a bit cruel, but yeah, that's what you get. So here in this case, we're joining the fishery industry, and also tourism. So I don't know if that could be exported to Valencia or to Norway. I don't know. We'll just drop it there. Okay, so yes, let's go on to our last speakers. It's going to be a double presentation from Bretagne region in France. So we've got Monsieur Alain Pomme and Monsieur Philippe Triefry. Alain works at the European Maritime Training Center, and Philippe has to do with marine renewable energies, because he works at the Bretagne Ocean Power. So we'll leave them to you. Bonjour, de Matt, and the floor is yours. Thank you.
Bonjour. Is it my to speak?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
Thanks. I'm Alain Pommes. I'm the director of the Centre Européen de Formation Continue Maritime. We have the most important maritime training center in France. We train about 5,000 trainees a year, essentially sailors for merchant navy and fisheries. I will try to introduce how in Brittany we understand the challenges of maritime skills. My English is as well as you need, as I need, so I will have to read my presentation. Sorry. The world's population is expected to keep on growing over the next 30 years. Understanding these dynamics is essential to decisions making in order to brave challenges and seize opportunities of the world-shifting demographics. With a population reaching 10 billion, humanity will have to man up a number of major challenges to preserve sustainable development and adequate quality of life for all. The main topics of confrontations will be availability and quality of fresh water, combined with the more effective use of such precious resources, food security, increasing demand, sustainability of agriculture, and reduction of food waste, adaptation, climate change, sea level rise, reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, and protection of biodiversity. Energy transition and efficiency with renewable energies, fair distributions of resources and opportunities, ecological and efficient means of transport, public health and aging society, new technologies, treatments, drugs, and diagnostic procedures, global cooperation and migration management policies, sound and sustainable oceans protections. These issues will require a global approach to integrate economic, scientific, environmental, and social stakes. To overcome all these challenges, the blue economy will play a crucial role. Next slide, please. Number one, access to water. Through better management of water catchment areas, seawater desalination technologies, and deep freshwater captures. Number two, food safety and human health with sustainable and responsible fisheries, sustainable aquacultures to meet the growing demand for proteins, development of maritime crop and livestock production with nutrient-rich seafood goods, and research into marine organisms and marine biotechnologies for new medicines and treatments. Number three, energy transition by harnessing marine renewable energies, offshore and floating wind farm, floating wind and wave turbine, tidal power, wave and current energy, ocean thermal energy, hydrogen production in ices, carbon storage in marine ecosystems, coastal adaptation, and the restoration of natural habitats. Next slide, please. Number four, improving, next slide, please. Number four, improving, it's not a good one. Next slide, sorry. Number four, improving urbanization and construction through management of dikes and borders, coastal infrastructures, floating cities, and environmental friendly ships and port facilities. All this cannot be achieved without supporting education and employment, developing research and training programs in marine sciences and resource management, as well as maritime technologies, and tap sustainable resources to boost local economy. Brittany, a coastal region rich in marine resources, has decided to take part in all these challenges. The region boasts the world's oldest marine biology station will still operating. Thanks to its universities and research laboratories, Brittany has developed numerous programs for aquaculture and nutrition produced at sea. It is France's largest fisheries region, enhanced by an international training center, a network of maritime and aquaculture high schools, and fish specialist university centers. Brittany trains a population of fishermen, fish farmers, and fishery engineers in the sustainable and rational management of marine resources. This region has a significant potential for offshore wind energy and is developing several wind farms with leading European operators. Moreover, it has tested the world's first tidal turbines and one of the first tidal power plants. Specific skills developed in Britain universities, laboratories, and training centers revolves around. Next slide. Please. Thanks. Oceanography and marine biology. An in-depth understanding of the different marine species found of fish in Brittany, essential to ensure their sustainable management, as well as cultivation and rearing of mollusks, crustaceans, and algae in aquaculture. Comprehensive knowledge of marine biology to study and exploit marine organisms for medical, industrial, or environment purposes. Marine-related technologies and industries, knowledge of oceanographic research tools, sonars, underwater sensors, surveillance systems in view to analyze maritime, oceanographic, and meteorologic data. Navigation and safety at sea to ensure the safety of workers, implementation of international maritime law and regulations. Marine engineering skills for the design, construction, and maintenance of renewable energy facilities. Next slide. Brittany is home to the École Naval Academy and Training Nautical Center in Brest, breeding officers and sailors for French Navy, leading engineering schools specializing in maritime science and technology, shipbuilding and naval engineering, the European University Institute of the Sea, 3 universities offering courses related to the ocean, 2 marine biology stations attached to national research centers, a university specializing in food resources, the World Maritime Campus, the Marine Industry Trades and Qualification Campus, the Naval Industry Campus, the Maritime Pollution Documentation and Research Center, Research Institute for Seafood Products, Aquaculture and Seafood Farming, a research center on the therapeutic applications of marine worms, headquarters of the French Research Institute for Exploitation of the Sea, the largest training center for merchant navy seamen, our center, and branch of the National Maritime College. And finally, Brittany hosts 4 maritime high schools and 3 aquaculture high schools, no less. Next slide, please. In Brittany, over 7,000 jobs are linked to the sea, with nearly 3,000 posts of employment in training and research. Thanks to Philippe de Gaulle.
Yes, thank you, Alain, and morning, everyone. So I'm Philippe, in charge of Bretagne Ocean Power, so which is, you can go to the next slide, please. So which is an association from the Regional Council of Bretagne, which aim to develop economic activities and industrial activities in Brittany, related with the offshore renewable energy project. So we support the companies, the developers, the big industrial players, to develop their industrial strategy, and at the end we support the local SMEs to access to this market, and to develop dedicated competencies and dedicated certification, and to invest, so to access to this project. So in Brittany, we are active in many fields, many kind of technologies in the offshore renewable energy project. So from the wave energy, tidal energy, and offshore wind. So I won't, in this presentation, in this short presentation, I won't go very deep in the details of the training courses that we develop, but I would just share with you some general consideration then we learned with our very first experience in Brittany. So next slide. So we had the opportunity to welcome one of the very first project in France in the offshore wind. So this is a Saint-Brieuc project. that was developed by Iberdrola, Spanish company, Spanish developers. And from the beginning of the construction, 2020, we supported Iberdrola. We supported Iberdrola's main contractors, and we supported local SMEs. So to make this project a success and to convert this project into local jobs in Brittany. So that was the challenge. This project is now commissioned. It was just entering commissioning in May this year. So it was a good news. So what did we do? We make a good job with Iberdrola and the teams to identify the required skills that we will need locally for this project. But this work was really complex because the need of local skills depends on many factors. It depends on the industrial strategy of the developer. What will I do? I would say in Spain, in France, in Brittany, otherwise. The contract organization of such large project is also very complex because we have a developer, we have main contractors, and we have tier 2, tier 3. And most of the time, our SMEs in Brittany are as tier 3 or tier 4 in this contract organization. And these companies are contracted very late in this project. So it is very difficult to anticipate the needs of the local SMEs for these projects. So we have 2 examples in the last slide. 2 examples of our very new experience in offshore wind in France and in Brittany. One very challenging experience about the welders, and another one experience which was more successful for the technicians in the service in offshore wind. So about the welders, you know all that this is a sector that is very in stress in France and in Europe. Welders and all the workers in steel manufacturing. And for the project, the need was around 200 of workers for a short, quite short time, 1.5 year. For such steel construction in offshore wind foundation, the level of certification is very high. So this is a certification from the oil and gas industry that is required. And as I already said, when the developer decided to go to the project, when he make his decision of a final investment, when the contract is passed with the contractors and with the local SMEs, we already have to start the construction yard. So when we know who need welders, it's already too late to train new people and to hire some of them. So we have now many new action with the other industrial clusters in France. We have proposed now a charter of commitment for local content for the offshore wind project. And in this charter, we ask many things to the further developers for further projects. And we ask them to work very early with the local stakeholders, such as the industrial clusters, to work together on the industrial strategy and to before. So it may be a challenge, but in fact not at all, because it was finally quite easy to develop a dedicated training course by merging existing bricks that we have in France and in Brittany. So we already have a dedicated course for technicians in onshore wind turbine. And we have also actors that developed sea survival training. And just by merging, we are able to propose a dedicated training for this new activity. Yes, maybe I will end because we are already late. So the keyword for this project maybe is anticipation and agility. We have to develop the useful training for the right companies and at the right time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alain and Philippe. By the way, Philippe, if you need welders and aeolic technicians, the Ministry of Education in Catalonia can get you in contact with vet schools that train these sectors. So who knows, maybe we could do something like that in the future.
Thank you.
Okay, right. So have we got any questions in the audience for Alain and Philippe? Or shall we call it a day? No hands, no questions. Alicia?
No questions, no.
No, if you want to.
No, I just wanted to say that
for this webinar.
Yeah, no, I wanted to say thank you to all the speakers, because I see as well a room for connection between you, also the participants, because I see that even there is, I guess, for Simon, it was interesting, the presentation from Barbara as well, to see even now, like Philippe was mentioning as well, the sea safeties, that is something that you are working on. So I see a room for connection and maybe working together. So we will be indeed sharing the details between the speakers, and you can be in touch and so on for maybe, who knows, future cooperation. And maybe just to thank you as well on behalf of ERLAL. Our network, as you can see, is really linked to the coastline. So it was a nice topic to learn more on the skills also. But for us, for the Secretariat, it's really interesting to see what you are doing within the regions. And just to mention that this is a series of webinars, as Oscar mentioned at the beginning, and in autumn we will be talking more maybe about the textile sector, but we will keep you informed about this. And I don't know if you want to say something else, Oscar, otherwise.
No, just thank you to everybody for being here, for presenting your information, and for listening to everybody. And well, hopefully, as Alicia said, yes, some networking can get out of these webinars, which can lead to future cooperation. So yeah, and if that happens, well, that will make us happy. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you. We will be sharing everything soon. Okay. Merci. Thank you. Dankeschön. I don't know in Norwegian.
Thank you.
Bye.
It's
Bye.
very
Bye,
easy.
thank you.
In Norwegian, it's tak. Tusen tak.
Tak. Bye.